Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Lamed Ches Amud Beis, starting with Lamed Ches Amud Aleph, the very last line on the Amud. The Gemara quotes the Seif of the Mishnah. The last words of the Mishnah state that when it comes to lechem, chalois toida, the matzahs for the korban toida, as well as the rikike nazir, the wafers that were made for the nazir, both of those cannot be used to fulfill one's mitzvah of matzah on Leil HaSeder. Ask the Gemara, Menahani Mili. From where do we know that this is so? That this is going to be osir, not to be used for mitzvah's matzvah on the first night of Pesach. Omar Rabbi, Omar Kro, Rabbi brings a postuk, and you shall guard the matzah, not only from becoming leavened, becoming chametz, but he says matzah hamishtameres l'shem matzah, as the matzah that is guarded for the sake of the mitzvah of matzah, we call lishma. Yotzisezu she'ein mishtameres l'shem matzah and l'shem zevach, excluding these cases of chalois, toida, and rikike nazir, which is not for the sake of the mitzvah of matzah on Pesach, but rather they're made for the korbanos. Yotzes, this is excluded. Rav Yosef Omar, Rav Yosef says from a different place we can learn out that they are excluded. Omar, the pasuk says, Shivas Yomi Matzos Toichelu. You shall be able to eat matzos for the 7 days of Pesach. Matzah necheles l'shivas yomim. Matzah that can be eaten for 7 days. Yotzisazu she'eina necheles l'shiva yomim ela l'yom v'layla. This excludes the chalos that can only be eaten for 1 day and 1 night, and therefore these korbanos are not going to be included in the requirement of matzah being able to be eaten for 7 days. The Gemara said we have a brisa like both opinions, the opinion of Rabbah as well as the opinion of Rav Yosef, as follows. The brisa says, I might think you can fulfill your mitzvah of achilas matzah with chalos toida and rikika nazir. Talmud loyma ushmartem es hamatzos. You shall guard the matzos. Matzah hamishtamesh l'shem matzah. Yatzisezu she'ena mishtamesh l'shem matzah ela l'shem zevach. So that brisa is exactly the way Rabbi explained. Tanya kavosei de Rav Yosef. We have also a brisa that supports what Rav Yosef said. Yochol yotza adam yodei chayvasev b'chalos toido rikika nazir. I might think you can fill your mitzvah of matzah with chalos toido and rikiki nazir. Says the brisa, for 7 days you shall be able to eat matzos. Matzah hanecheles l'shiva, yatzisezu she'ena necheles l'shiva el yom v'layla. That will be including only those that are able to be eaten for 7 days, and will exclude those matzos, namely chalois toida and rikike nazir, that can only be in 1 day and 1 night. Ask the Gemara, why do we have to come on to these psukim, these limudim, to exclude the chalois of the toida and the rikike nazir? Ask the Gemara, v'tepuk le milechem oini. Simply learn out from the fact that lechem oini, it has to be lechem oini, dahainu, something that's eaten, that even is in be'aninus, in a state of grief. Whereas these are korbanos, and korbanos have to be in besimcha, not be'aninus. Ma shenecha be'aninus, that's the matzah. Yotza zeh she'eino necha be'aninos ela b'simcha. This will include, therefore, the chalois of the toida and the rikike nazir. She can only be eaten b'simcha, not be'aninos. Answers the Gemara, Sover lo keRabbi Akiva. This goes like Rabbi Akiva that says that the word lechem oini is not to be explained that it can be eaten with aninus, but rather oini from lashon oni. It's a poor man's bread, whereby it can't be then made with oil, with wine, or with honey, because that's considered to be matzah ashira. The Omar oni ksif, it's written oni, and therefore since it's written oni, That's the exclusion. But indeed, one can even eat the matzah b'toich simcha. V'tepuk lei dahavole matzah ashira. Okay, then let's learn out that you cannot fulfill your mitzvah matzah with matzah ashira, like Rabbi Akiva learns. And yet over here we mix the rikike nazir and the chalois toida, we mix them indeed with oil. And therefore there should be a problem of matzah ashira. Answers the Gemara, Omar Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchok, Revi'is, he umischalekes, he lekama chalos. The amount of oil, a revi'is lug, amongst all of that bread that's being used for the chalos toida, that's not enough to be considered to be chashuv as a matzah ashira. And therefore it still remains a matzah that's ani. Ask the Gemara, but still, the typically de'ena necholos b'chol moshavos. Hare, since these are eaten only in Yerushalayim, therefore it should be excluded from the mitzvah matzah, which requires that you be able to eat b'chol moshavosechem in all of your dwellings. Omer Reish Lakish's answer, Zois oimeres, chalois toida rikika nazir, necholim benoiv v'givon. In the cities of Noiv and Givon, where the Mishkan was made before the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, then, since it was then brought over there, it could be eaten in all Eretz Yisrael, and therefore it's not limited just to Yerushalayim, it could be eaten in all Eretz Yisrael, and therefore Bechol Moshavosechem. So it comes out we need both the drasha of Rabbah as well as the drasha of Rav Yosef, depending on which drasha we go with, but nonetheless to exclude chalois toida and rikike nazir. Tanya, the Gemara brings a brayso. Oma Rabbi Eloi, shoalti as Rabbi Eliezer. I asked Rabbi Eliezer the following question: Ma'u sheyetz yatsa adam bechalois toida rikike nazir. He said, what is the reason why a person can go out, he can fulfill his mitzvah with chalos toida and rikike nazir? Omar li lo shamati, he said, I didn't hear. Bosi v'sha'alti le Rabbi Yoshua, I went then and asked Rabbi Yoshua, Omar li, hare amru chalois to rikike nazir she'ason la'atzmoi, ein adam yoytze bohen. If you're making them for yourself, then you cannot fulfill your mitzvah of matzah on the first night of Pesach, as we explained before, because it's excluded. Either because, according to Rabbah's drasha, that after all they're not considered to be l'shem matzah's mitzvah, or according to Rav Yosef, they cannot be eaten in 7 days, and therefore they're excluded. However, limkor b'shuk yoytze behen, if they were made in order to be sold to the people in the shuk, in the marketplace, then they could, yes, be used for mitzvahs matzah. Ask the Gemara, what's this distinction? When I came and I presented these words before Rabbi Eliezer, what Rabbi Yeshua had told me, the distinction between making the rikike nazir and the chalos toida for oneself versus making it to be sold in the shuk. Omali, he said, bris, he said, a shvua, that's correct. Hein advorim shenemru lo Moshe Sinai. This indeed it was said halacha Moshe Sinai, and therefore it's a correct din. The distinction that you made. Ike da Amre, the other version said as follows. What was Rabbi Eliezer's response? Bris shvua, he said. Hein advorim shenemru lo Moshe Sinai bitmiya, in wonderment. Are these things that were just stated without any reasoning? Lo taima boy, without any reasoning to explain the distinction? V'taima, I asked the Gemara Taka, what is the reason? Why, when one makes the chalos toder and the nazir rikike for himself, it cannot be used for matzah's mitzvah for the first night of Pesach? Yet when he makes them to sell in the shuk, it could be. Answers they want to explain. Omar Rabbi, kol lashuk im luche nimlach. When a person is going to then use it to sell it in the shuk, to the marketplace, to a nazir who might need the rikike nazir, for example, so he then intends that he might change his mind in the event that he doesn't sell it as follows. I mizdabin, then mizdabin. If I will sell it, then very well, I'll sell it. However, ilom is daben, then ipuk behu ano. If I don't sell it, then I'll use it for my own mitzvah of matzah on the first night of Pesach. And therefore, since indeed he has such in mind from the time that he makes the matzahs, that it might be indeed used for his matzah on the Leil Seder, therefore it fulfills the requirement of the Shem Matzvah's mitzvah, and therefore it could also, Nemela, according to Rav Yosef, also be used for the 7 days.